On this episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast, we talk about Elegy by Shadow of Intent. Welcome to another episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
We're two professional broadcasters. We like metal and we like to talk about it. And voice crack there. Very professional.
Puberty setting in over there.
Sorry, yeah.
Puberty just set in.
That's right.
That was my prepubescent voice before.
Right. And then suddenly the left one dropped.
So now I'm down here.
Exactly.
This is how I'm going to sound forever now.
Oh, God.
I sound like...
Please don't.
I sound like, that one voice actor in Skyrim.
Oh, sure.
Well, it's kind of in between the guy who does the voice for Farkas and the guy who voices all the male orcs.
Right.
Because every male orc in the game,
male orcs, yeah,
they all sound like this. Mess with any of my books, and I'll set an angry Atronach on you.
The librarian at the college is a very cantankerous orc,
right? Who sends you to find books and shit.
Yeah, and you can sell an Elder Scroll to him for like 2,000 gold,
which seems
pretty low.
Yeah,
for a fucking insane artifact that can bend the laws of time,
right? And
that makes you go blind if you look at it too many times,
right?
That's a plot point in the Dawnguard expansion is you have to go looking for this moth priest. Who they're the people who study the Elder Scrolls,
right? And
eventually, over the course of the quest, he goes blind from reading the scrolls you're finding too many times. But the deep lore of the Elder Scrolls series is fucking insane. And it's kind of a shame that so much of it is kind of skipped out on in Skyrim because there's some absolutely buck wild shit going on in there that Bethesda, I think before Morrowind, Bethesda paid this fantasy writer or whatever to come up with elaborate on their universe. And it was fucking insane, the shit that he came up with. The entirety of the game of Daggerfall takes place in the way that they justify the weird shit that happens in Daggerfall is that it doesn't really happen, but it did. There's something called a dragon break, which is essentially Akatosh is the god of time and he looks like a dragon.
Sure.
So basically when time gets all fucked up, that's called a dragon break. It's so weird.
It's like the opposite of retconning something.
Yeah, it's saying that didn't actually happen, but it did.
Right.
It's bizarre as hell. And all of the lore that goes into Morrowind and stuff is extremely fascinating.
And it was just one dude that wrote it all?
I think so.
I wonder how long that took.
He didn't write the game necessarily, but he wrote, the whole universe and everything and the lore of it. I don't know how long it took him. I don't know how long they gave him. He might have, spent a while on it. I don't know what the situation was.
Maybe he's still doing it now.
I think he kind of is. He's not doing it for Bethesda anymore because after a while, Bethesda was just all right, that's enough for us.
Well, you mean Microsoft? But I mean,
this was long before Bethesda was acquired by Microsoft.
Sure,
that happened last year.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. If he's still working there, he's working.
Yeah, he'd still be working for Bethesda.
Right.
His checks aren't being signed by who's in charge of Microsoft?
I don't even know anymore.
Phil Spencer? Is it Phil Spencer?
Phil Spector? Yeah, I think.
It's Phil Spector.
Right.
Regina Spector?
Yes, Regina Spector.
All right. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
That's good.
Life is good. I'm going to be all alone this week.
All alone.
Naturally. Because the kids are headed to Canada.
To Canada, where they say Putin. I asked some people about that. I was like, because this was a thing earlier today.
Right, a conversation.
Apparently you've never heard the way 95% of the English-speaking world says Putin.
Right. I don't. Yeah. Even on the news, I heard them say Putin.
I don't know. I mean, I understand that's the French pronunciation. It is a French word, but I asked like Canadian friends from Saskatchewan and stuff. Is like, how do most people in Canada say it? Like, if you're not in the Maritimes, Ontario, or Quebec, you say poutine.
Poutine. Yeah.
Not poutine, but just
that would be a weird way to say anything.
Yeah, but like it's not the
Right.
E at the end is not super emphasized, but just poutine.
Poutine, right?
It's not Putin.
Delicious.
It's
French fries with
the
cheese
difference
curds and gravy.
Ultimately, the difference between the pronunciations is not big, but I think someone from Quebec would give a shit.
Sure.
Because they care too much about the way people pronounce most French words. The K. Trevor Wilson joke is just like, yous don't speaks French very good. Yeah, well, your English is astounding. But yeah, Canada.
God, who was it that I recently talked to that just discovered that show?
Letterkenny?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was somebody.
Well, because it wasn't available in the U.S. for the longest time.
Well, no, but
until like season 5, I think you couldn't watch it officially on a U.S. streaming service, and then it's on Hulu. I think.
But I mean, there were pieces of it on all over YouTube.
Yeah, and on their YouTube channel, because that's how their show started. It was Jared Kiso just making YouTube skits.
Just making speeches, standing by a fence in the middle of nowhere.
I saw an earlier Jared Kiso skit because he was a hockey player for a while.
Sure,
and he did a skit about like how homoerotic locker room interviews sometimes get. Yeah, just like the language of the locker room interviews. And so it was the guy who played like 2 different teams, and it was Jared Kiso on one, and then it was the guy who plays Shorzy on the other one. One of the hockey players in Letterkenny. And it would just like it started out normal, and then it got extremely like just homoerotic innuendos the entire way through. It was really funny.
Well, who's the character that's you never see his face on Letterkenny? Who's actually honestly voiced by Jared Kiso?
I don't know.
There's a character on there who you never actually see,
and it's just Jared Kiso.
It's just Jared Kiso. Yeah,
it's just the creator of the show.
Yeah. And one of the hockey players on there was on a kids show that we used to watch at home.
Sure.
It was a Canadian kids show called Batteries Not Included.
Okay.
It was a bizarre fever dream of a show about.
I think there's a lot of really weird Canadian kids shows.
There are. This one was really. I mean, it's about somehow a child takes over a corporate toy company in Canada, and now it's all run by children who tell very, very bad jokes all day.
I think that's what happens when you have a well-funded public broadcast company or association or whatever.
Sure.
Is you end up with a lot of really creative, really good, but incredibly weird stuff.
Right.
That's what happens when you actually invest in like public broadcasting. And yeah, because I've watched like a number of like Defunctland episodes about Canadian kids shows,
right? And
they're not all super weird, but they're like a lot of them are kind of like I don't see that happening in the United States,
right?
And it's all it's CBC kids programming,
sure.
And it seems really interesting.
But the weird thing about it is when I see Letterkenny and I see that child actor. And he's cussing,
yes,
he's taking off his shirt and yelling "fuck you" at the people who are the main characters.
Because that's his first reaction to anything is taking his shirt off.
Yep.
As established in one of the original YouTube skits, it's the first thing those two fuckheads do whenever anything happens is take their shirts off. God, Letterkenny's hilarious. If you have Hulu, watch it. I need to sit down and actually like watch. I watched the first couple seasons of Letterkenny, and then I didn't keep watching it, not because it wasn't funny, but just because I went and did something else.
Right.
There's a bunch of shows that I have kind of abandoned, not because they weren't compelling, but just because I wanted to watch something else.
Right. Life happens
to me a lot when I binge content of any kind. Yeah, it happens to me a lot when I binge drink.
Right, exactly.
I exclusively binge drink while I'm watching television shows. It's like it's a miracle that I got through fucking Justified. 6 seasons of Justified almost killed me.
Right. Yeah.
Those are long seasons.
And sadly, you don't remember any of it.
I don't remember any of it.
Yeah.
I just remember Walton Goggins has very white, very large teeth.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that Timothy Olyphant is badass. And
right.
That's all I remember about Justified, unfortunately. And I think it took place in Tennessee, famously.
Tennessee? Okay.
No, it takes place in Kentucky.
Oh,
I'm being stupid.
Yeah, because I remember, what was the episode?
I do remember a lot of, this has all been facetious. I love Justified.
Timothy Olyphant at that one point, he's a cop there, the sheriff, and he gets out. And who's that alien bounty hunter that shoots him down?
Yeah. You're talking about Vango Bango.
Yeah, sure.
That's a Star Wars name. I'm sure.
That's not the guy's name.
It's Cad Bane. Cad Bane.
Yeah, Cad Bane. Right.
Yes.
Tango Bango.
I do love that Timothy Olyphant cannot get from being the marshal of a town.
Sure.
It's like Deadwood, Justified. I mean, he wasn't the marshal of a town at Justified, but it's like he can't get away from the title of marshal.
Book of Eli, whatever the Star Wars thing was.
What?
Oh, no, Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, well, Mandalorian first, and then he was in Book of Boba Fett. He was in Mandalorian season 2.
Oh, that's right. Yes, he was. Yeah. And he was Drew Barrymore's husband in the
Santa Clarita Diet. I didn't finish that either.
Really? Because that's only, 2 seasons?
2 or 3, I think.
2 or 3, maybe 3.
Very funny. I didn't finish that either.
Right.
And I should have. It's nice to see it. That was nice to see Timothy Olyphant playing a different kind of character.
Right.
It's like he does have range.
Yeah.
He's not always a pissed off lawman.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, and also, his lawman characters sort of run the gamut between seething rage at all times in Deadwood to being very angry all the time, but also being incredibly charming in Justified, and then just being smooth talking cowboy in Mandalorian, and Book of Boba Fett, like,
yeah,
because in his portrayal of Seth. I almost said Seth Givens, which would be a combination of 2 different characters' names.
Yeah.
It's not even Seth, actually. That's his friend. Who the fuck did he? I'm trying to remember the name of the character from Deadwood that he played. He was a real guy. He's got a fucking hotel in Deadwood that you can still go and stay at.
That my friends Beth and Tim stay at every time they go in there, and they try to find his ghost.
Yes, with his gigantic. It'd be hard to miss his ghost because the man had an absolutely insanely massive mustache. The man's name was Seth Bullock. It was Seth.
Right, Seth Green.
Yes. No, the Bullock Hotel.
Right.
You can still go and stay at in Deadwood. But yeah, like Seth Bullock, his portrayal of Seth Bullock in Deadwood, he's just so angry all the time, and he's constantly about to boil over and kill somebody. He never kills anyone throughout the entire length of the TV show, though.
He killed someone in the first episode.
That was okay. He never kills someone when he is a marshal, when he's made sheriff or whatever.
Okay, right, yeah.
Which was a famous thing about the real Seth Bullock, which is that his entire time in Deadwood, he never killed anybody.
Right, yeah. That wasn't in Deadwood. That was in there's another South Dakota town. Where he was going to take the prisoner was.
Oh, that was in Montana. Still,
yeah, that was in Montana, right.
And then he does kill someone in the second episode when they're in Deadwood, but it's debatable who hit because it was him and Wild Bill Hickok shooting at exactly the same time. But yeah, as a law officer in Deadwood on the show, he doesn't kill anybody until the movie. Which came out a few years ago. That was also fantastic. The movie abandons all pretense of being historical and just decides to give a satisfying conclusion to the story arcs of the characters from the show.
Right.
It was really good. But anyway, that's enough of gushing about Timothy Olyphant.
Yeah. I mean, there are 2 main Timothy Olyphants. There's the Asian Olyphant and the African Olyphant.
Yep. What about which one did they bring to Gondor? Which one did the Haradrim ride into the Battle of Pelennor Fields?
Over you mean over the the Alps?
Which Hannibal, when he brought his Oliphants to fight the Romans in Middle Earth.
Right.
The Roman city of Minas Tirith.
Exactly.
Serving the Dark Lord of Mordor. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know. Hannibal,
the Dark Pope of Mordor.
this was pre-Christianity.
Was that pre-Christianity?
Yeah, the second Punic War was like 200 BC.
I guess it was. Yeah.
I think that was the second Punic War was Hannibal. But anyway, I believe those were
when a plan comes together.
Yeah. Those were African elephants.
Those were
I'm pretty sure.
Right.
One of the few
in Gondor.
Yeah. One of the few times that anyone's really attempted to like tame African elephants in particularly large numbers was sort of the Carthaginian age.
Sure.
Because for the most part, like tame elephants have throughout history traditionally been Asian elephants.
Sure.
I don't know why it is that African elephants weren't traditionally tamed.
Different demeanor, I think.
For potentially, yeah. There's a lot of other like animals that we don't think of people taming that absolutely, like the Egyptians tamed the shit out of hyenas, I presume, but
sure.
Like cheetahs and stuff throughout Africa, not just the Egyptians, but like cheetahs and stuff. Cheetahs are also very easy to tame.
Cheetahs are very easy to break and
because they're extremely chill.
Right.
They're like, you're too robust for us to really like. We could definitely kill you, but you're gonna break our bones.
Yeah.
Like you.
Because I weigh 6 pounds.
Yeah. If you punch a cheetah hard enough, it will probably die.
Sure.
Don't do that. Obviously, if you are in a position to punch a cheetah,
please don't punch the cheetah.
Yeah, don't punch the cheetah. But yeah, they're very fragile.
Sounds like a metaphor for something.
Dude,
I got him punching the cheetah.
Hey, they're quite fragile, but that's because they're very light because they run extremely fast.
They're the fastest mammal.
But yeah, they're easy to tame because they're really, really chill.
Mm-hmm.
They're just big house cats basically that run extremely fast.
Have you heard them? You ever heard a cheetah?
Yeah. They make cute noises.
They do make adorable noises.
That's like any big cat in the Felidae.
The Felidae.
Felidae. Yeah. The same one as the house cats. The ones that can purr.
Right. But not the panthers.
Panthers can't purr.
Right. The lions are panthers. Essentially.
Lions and tigers and
bears.
And bears.
Yeah.
Famously. A member of the cat family.
Right. The famous cat member bear.
Yes. The like mountain lions and whatnot can purr.
Tigers and leopards.
Well, no, that would be mountain lions are in.
Well, no, yeah, but mountain lions. Mountain lions are felids.
Yep.
Right. That's right. They are.
North America. The only native panther in North America is the jaguar.
Sure.
There used to be American lions.
Right. There were lions all over the earth for a while there.
Fairly recently.
They're one of the most common.
Big ass cats.
Yeah.
Big ass. There was tons of fucking cats up in the gaff in North and South America. Fucking lions and fucking saber cats, saber-toothed cats all over the place. There were cats all over the place.
What happened? I guess humans, I suppose.
Well,
had something
kind of, yeah, something to do with it. And, shit got warm. Big animals died.
Right.
But yeah, all the big stuff that they wanted to eat went away.
Right. Yeah. And all that was left of all the big stuff left in North America, they had what? Bison.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Super famously easy to take down by predators, the bison. What was left was bison and moose.
Right.
Two creatures you don't really want to tango with in a sort of close-up situation.
I've known people who've hit a moose with their car.
And the moose gets up.
And the moose gets up. Away. Yeah. The car's total and destroyed. Moose is like, oh, man.
I don't care.
Kind of hurt, but I got to go.
I got some lily pads to eat.
Yeah.
Or, pond grass.
And it's also a terrifying reminder that if you're in a lake in Canada, at some point it's possible that a moose might pop out of it.
Yes.
Because they are notorious swimmers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're basically semi-aquatic.
Yeah.
And just head pops up. It's like beavers.
Yeah.
Beavers are scary in the sense that like ultimately they're but like
what
some subtle foaming action from this bottle.
He's getting head while talking about beavers.
Quite a long time after I opened it too.
Right.
But yeah, that was not suggestive at all. But like the way that beavers will pop up and then slap their tails on the water, it's genuinely quite startling.
It is. And they mean that to be quite startling.
Yes,
they want
that's
it to be
the purpose of it.
Right. Because a beaver is not actually a dangerous animal, really.
I mean, they'll bite you.
Sure.
That would suck to be bit by a beaver, but
there's a movie
about that.
Right. Critical teeth.
Yeah. What is going on with this beer?
I don't know what are you doing over there? Did you have this in the freezer?
It's not like foaming. It's the weird thing is it's not foaming over.
Maybe
it's just it looks like the head of a ballpoint pen.
Yeah.
But the ball is foam.
Is this beer like some sort of polymer? Is that what's going on here?
I don't know. It keeps doing it. Let me drink some.
Right.
Maybe it'll kill me.
No, probably not.
Probably not.
You know, we were talking earlier. You brought up the word necromancer. And I remember the first time I ever heard the word necromancer, and I thought it was just somebody who really likes giving hickeys.
I see. Yes, because neck and romance. Yes, I understand.
Right.
I know what you mean now.
It's what I thought at the time.
But
I was 12.
Soon you discovered Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes, I did. I'm like, oh. That's even cooler than someone who likes to give hickeys.
It's a guy who makes zombies with magic. Skeletons.
You all right?
That's burpy.
What's because of the weird?
Because of all the gas in the beer.
Right. Your beer's gassy.
My beer's all gassy. It's crazy. It's crazy. You bought Elden Ring, by the way, and you're not enjoying it, apparently.
Okay. Now, correct. Okay. I didn't. I played for 4 hours the day I bought it, and by the end of it, I was angry. I hated the world. I wanted everyone dead, and so I said, you know what? I want, because I'm not the kind of guy who gives up easily.
Yes,
I'm annoying in that way sometimes. The next day, I played it for another half hour, and I'm like, no, I really do fucking hate this game. Okay. Everybody says they love it. Why? This is just nothing but pure frustration. Pure frustration. So I came home from work today, and I sat down and went, okay. Some people that I enjoy their company and they talk about this game, so I want to be able to be a part of the conversation.
Yes,
when they talk, I'm going to fucking learn to like this game, and so I turned it on again. And I played for 2.5 hours, and
that's how they get you.
Oh, okay, I get the mechanic now. I get what you're, okay. Oh, I get this. Okay, now, now I gotta get the crafting thing. Okay, I'm gonna make some arrows. I'm gonna arrows. Okay, no, whoa, these guys are scary and killed again. Oh, it's killed again. Oh, it's killed again. And
almost beat for beat, that's exactly what fucking happened to me with Dark Souls 1. Almost exactly. First 4 hours of the game, I was frustrated. Well, okay, the first 2 hours of the game, I was like, wow, I'm really good at this. And then the next 4 hours of the game, I was like, this fucking stupid. I hate this.
Yeah.
And then after that, I went, fuck you, game. People say you're so good. Well, I'm going to show you. And then I was like, okay. I get it.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. Oh, all right.
Yeah.
And now I'm, Now
with this new game, there's a lot more. They're called points of grace.
Yes.
You touch the grace and it's essentially just a safe. It's a safe point. It's a bonfire, right? But there's like a lot more of them. In fact, if you go into a place where, and that it's wonderful. I found out that if you walk into a hidden chamber or something, you open the door, you go in, there's a point of grace. You're like, I'm about to die 50 times.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is and there is kind of like an opening area, like a lot of open world games, where like there's a smaller area where you start out in, and then it opens up really. But like it's constructed the way a traditional open world RPG is, where it's like, okay, yeah, you have your story path, but also like there's a bunch of little caves and stuff you can go into.
Right.
And there's a whole dungeon in there. It has nothing to do with the story of the game, but there's a whole dungeon and you can go into it and find some treasure and do some stuff. And that's what I desperately want, because I'm stuck in the end of Dark Souls 3 and I am so sick and tired of not being able to go and do anything else in that game because it is so linear. Dark Souls 3 is very, very linear, especially when compared to Dark Souls 1, which plot-wise is more or less linear. You can do it in some pretty wild orders if you know how, but like the thing about Dark Souls 1 is like there is a truly insane amount of shortcuts and switchbacks in the map and places where like, places that you discover 40 hours into the game connect back to the starting point somehow, and you find a shortcut and it's like, what the fuck? That's crazy. I'm back in Firelink Shrine all of a sudden. How did that happen?
Right.
And like Dark Souls 3 is extremely linear. And I've been stuck on the same boss for a week and a half now. I am getting more reliably to the third stage and making it about a third of the way through the third stage. So I'm making progress.
Right.
It's just really slow and
monotonous, and
it's so I'm not the type of person, like I've never liked grinding in video games. I despise it. I cannot play MMOs.
Sure. What about the dance floor?
Hey, also not on the dance floor.
No, not on the dance floor.
I don't like to dance.
Right, sure.
But like I hate grinding in video games. I'm not an MMO person because I hate grinding so much. And it's like this feels like grinding. But instead of being able to go to, a different area of the map, to grind, I'm stuck in this one room with this one barefooted nun with a scythe who keeps on absolutely destroying my soul.
And that was the time that Kale learned what marriage is.
Hey! I did find, however, that you can kind of skip the boss fight, sort of, in the sense that because you can buy the second DLC without having the first one, and do the second DLC without having to complete the first one. So if you beat the penultimate boss in the DLC, in the main game.
Oh, in the main game.
The penultimate boss in the main game, you gain access to what's called the Kiln of the First Flame, and the second bonfire in that area has a little bonfire off to the side that you can use to teleport to the start of the second DLC.
But you haven't done that yet.
I have tried to get through the part there. The first part of that DLC, apparently, I don't know if this is. I haven't found a bonfire. I feel like I've explored fairly far into that, and it's like, where's the bonfire? Where's the bonfire? Where's the bonfire? Oh, is this going to be one of those where it's like, and I don't know how far it is to the first boss there, because also if you kill the first boss in the second DLC, there is a summon for a particular NPC character that you can use on Sister Freda, who's the boss I've been stuck on.
Right.
That summon sign disappears if you kill the first boss in this DLC, because, spoiler alert, the character that you summon for that fight is the final boss of the second DLC.
Oh, no.
And it looks, I've watched the boss fight so many times, and it looks absolutely amazing, and it looks extremely fun, and there's a lot of things about it that remind me of my favorite fights in the series so far. I just got to get through some really annoying bullshit to get there. And I'm sure by the time I do get there, if I don't just give up and say, fuck it, I'm playing Elden Ring now, I'm sure
Which is what I did.
I'm sure if I do get there, I will be so completely overleveled for Soul of Cinder that it's going to be like when I beat Dark Souls 1, completely laughable. Like, I was so vastly overpowered when I went in to fight Gwyn at the end of Dark Souls 1 that it was just I brought a summon with me and it was comical how easy it was.
Pound, bye.
I killed him in 4 hits and he was focused on Solaire the entire time. And I was just like, this was extremely disappointing. Oh no.
Anticlimactic as fuck.
Yeah. And I'm sure I could have, because like immediately after that New Game Plus starts and you get brought back to the start of the game with all your shit. And so it was just like, I wonder how quickly I could complete New Game Plus Dark Souls 1 with my fully upgraded Black Knight Halberd, which is one of the most overpowered weapons in the game. I went with a really kind of cheesy sort of build because I knew like, okay, I watched a guy play through the entire game and he really liked the halberd. So I'll find the halberd and I'll use that. And then, that'll be my weapon for the game. And I used the regular halberd for most of the game. Didn't have trouble with most of the bosses. And then right before I fought Gwen, I found the Black Knight halberd and I had enough materials to upgrade it entirely without having to go find anything. And it was it was way too powerful. But that's that's kind of the Dark Souls experience, and that can help it. Elden Ring is one of the first games where that can happen like more than anything else, where it's like if you are really having trouble with a boss, just go and explore for a few hours because you can go explore, find some treasure, kill a whole bunch of stuff, get your runes or whatever. I think the currency is called runes, isn't it?
Well, runes is how you make magic. But
okay.
But yeah, you also, just like in all the other Souls games, you collect souls from the people you kill.
Okay, is it souls? That's what you use to level up?
I'm not sure yet. I haven't got there yet, but I do know that I lost all my shit in a place where it's going to be hard to get back to. Yeah.
The thing also that I'm excited about with Elden Ring is that you can level up at every site of grace instead of like in Dark Souls 3, where you have to go back to Firelink Shrine and talk to the Firekeeper and go through her dialogue. Like Dark Souls 1, it was super nice. You can level up at every bonfire, just sit down, level up, you're done. No loading screens required. If you want to level up in Dark Souls 3, it's like go find a bonfire, sit through a loading screen to get to Firelink Shrine, go talk to the Firekeeper, fast forward through her dialogue, and
that might have been my problem with Bloodborne. There might have been.
Do you have to go back to the Hunter's Dream to level up in Bloodborne?
I think you do. You have to go back to the Hunter's Dream to level up and to buy and sell shit.
Yeah, that was a weird thing in Dark Souls 1, you couldn't sell shit to almost the only person you could sell things to was Kingseeker Frampt, and his way of like buying the stuff was eating it. He ate it, made the worst noise imaginable, and then you got souls for the stuff that he ate. It was the most like the Frampt makes the weirdest noises, and he'll do this when he's excited or when he eats something. I was like, it's like, why?
Yeah.
Why is that the noise that you make for this? I wonder if he makes a different noise in the Japanese dub for Dark Souls. It's like, because the English voiceover for Frampt is bizarre. In that sense, the rest of it is fine, but like, also the primordial serpents look really weird. They have these like, they're freaky looking.
Yeah.
And they have these giant teeth that also like click and clack as they talk.
Neat.
It's
off-putting.
It's very off-putting. Extremely off-putting. That's our, tangent about the Souls games.
Yeah.
For a while.
But FromSoft. Yes. But you'll like Elden Ring.
Yeah, I'm sure I will. I just need to finish.
I got really frustrated with the shit, and then what I did was I just wandered around open spaces killing guards.
Yeah.
It's like listen, I can do this.
Yeah, just go do something. Like that seems like the thing that I want most is like, you don't like doing that? Go do something else for a while.
Right. Oh, I found a secret chamber. Oh, wait a minute. The blue thing in my compass is pointing. Oh, shit, I'm doing the fucking story.
I'm doing the story.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I want to get there. I'm sure I will enjoy it deeply. But
I'm liking it now.
Yeah.
I think I'm actually having the same reaction that I had initially to Skyrim that we talked about. Yeah, I think initially I was playing it and I'm like, oh, this sucks. I hate this. I can't do any of the things. And then I went home and I bought it because I was actually on my brother's Xbox.
Okay.
When the first time I played it, it was in early 2012 is when I was playing it. And
holiday 2012.
Yeah.
That's also when I was first playing Skyrim.
And then I went, the game pisses me off. So I'm going to spend money and buy it.
I'm going to go buy it. Yeah.
So
no, like that. Yeah. Your experience with Elden Ring is exactly what happened to me with Dark Souls 1, where it was just like, I got really frustrated. And then I went, what does everyone see in this? Fuck it. I'm going to force myself to do this. There's a lot of things in my life that I have like initially gone, ugh. Yeah. And then forced and it's always stuff that people are like, but no, it's really good. Mm-hmm. So I force myself to sit down and then I'm just sitting there with my arms crossed and a frown on my face. And I'm just like, I guess this is pretty good.
Well, I guess I like it now.
That happened to me with fucking Converge. Or it's like
people said you love this and you listen to it, this is terrible.
I mean, the internet was telling me that I'd love that, but like I didn't like that style of metalcore, and that went for like Every Time I Die as well. Mm-hmm. Like the more sort of chaotic, more kind of old school style of metalcore, I just didn't get.
Right.
And then I was like 17 and I just sat down and put the headphones on, or maybe I think I was actually 18 or 19 when this happened. But I sat down, put the headphones on and just listened all the way through Jane Doe. And I got done with that and was like, I get it.
I like this.
I like this now.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that happened to me. I went on a web tangent early on in the internet. I didn't go on the
early on in the internet.
I didn't go on the internet until I was like 23. Mm-hmm. And I'm going through some websites talking about how these pretentious assholes like the Residents. I'm like, I can be a pretentious asshole.
Sure. I'd like to be a pretentious asshole. Why not?
Bring me some Residents. That's when I started buying their CDs.
What a fucking weird band.
Yeah, they are fucking weird.
What a weird band.
I ended up at the Smelly Tongues website and...
Smelly Tongues.
Yeah.
All right, we're talking about music, so we might as well talk about the music at hand.
Great transition
to Elegy by Shadow of Intent.
Indeed. Now, this is a fairly young band, right?
Yes, this is a fairly young band. They started in 2014, I think, is when their first EP came out. That one was called... It's the Latin name for the Flood in the Halo series, because that's what the title of their the name of their band comes from the name of a ship in Halo 3. Their first EP was called Inferi Sententia, which is the name of the Flood in Halo, which is sort of like a zombie-like parasite. But then they released in 2016 Primordial, then Reclaimer a year after that in 2017. Mm-hmm. Those were both albums based off of like some of the lore of the Halo franchise. Mm-hmm. And then they got off of that trend with Melancholy in 2019, which we talked about when it came out. Fantastic album.
Great
and then
album.
Elegy came out last month or January. I can't remember.
Sometime early this year.
Early this year, this came out, and it is fucking awesome.
Yeah, I remember listening. You said it's a great album. I'll have to listen to it. And
I came into the studio.
Oh, you played some of it for me.
Yeah, That was
what it was.
I came into the studio and was like, "Listen to this. This is the first. This is the first track. Yeah. I played Farewell for you."
Yeah, I remember going. You know what? I'm not conscious of the fact that I did not consciously open my mouth. It is just naturally.
It's just open.
It's just
so if you don't know, Shadow of Intent is a symphonic deathcore band from the U.S. They're kind of from all over the U.S., I think.
And this band actually, when you say symphonic, they use symphony. They use fucking
absolutely.
symphony in there.
This is very much a blending of classic kind of deathcore style, but the symphonic in the vein of bands like Dimmu Borgir.
Sure.
It's like you can tell that these guys grew up listening to like both worlds.
Right.
Here.
Yeah, you can. I mean, if you are like for this, at least this album, if you're looking for an itch to be scratched as far as metal goes,
oh god,
it's all here.
It's
all right fucking here.
This album has everything.
Stefan, tell us more.
This album has deep, gutturals. This album has amazing soaring guitar solos. This album has orchestral keyboards.
It has Dan Cortez.
Oh, Stefan is probably one of my favorite things that Bill Hader's ever done. Oh, my head hurts. Oh, I forgot to breathe. Ow. The project was formed in 2013.
Sure.
By Ben Dewar and Chris Wiseman, who remain the two primary forces in the band. Chris Wiseman being the guitarist and songwriter, Ben Dewar being a insanely talented vocalist.
How does he do that with his fucking voice? How is that possible?
Truly mind, but the sheer amount of styles that he can pull off seemingly effortlessly.
Well, it's funny because I'm listening again. He does these great he does a great guttural death metal, but he does these keyed screams that are just fucking great. And then there was one song I listened to him. He's doing like 4 different vocal styles here, and then I realized, oh no, that's the guy from Whitechapel.
Yeah. Phil Bozeman is a guest vocalist on this.
Yeah,
and it was a little like. Because I think Phil also, because we talked about the new Whitechapel album a few months ago. And on that one, something that I noticed is that Phil uses a slightly different, kind of changed his technique for that album a little bit. But the vocals that he does on this album sound more like most of what he's done with Whitechapel.
Sure. Like prior to the recent album.
Yeah, prior to their most recent. And like he I think focused really, really heavily on like trying to be as articulate as possible in their most recent album, partially because it was material that was so personal to him. Sure. That he wanted it to read a little bit better and to be a bit more audible. Right. But like, yeah, this Ben Dewar is just absolutely phenomenal. It is absolutely crazy. I remember I started listening to these guys it might have been 2016. I think I was living in my first apartment.
Sure, you weren't old enough to drink then.
I was not, no. But I was living in my first apartment and came across. I think I was on like a deathcore subreddit or something, and someone was like, this is like the biggest sleeper album of 2016. Sure, like nobody had ever heard of Shadow of Intent before, and then Primordial came out, and everyone was like, who the fuck are these guys? This is crazy good.
Were you not paying attention?
And then like a year later, Reclaimer came out, and I was like, what the fuck? Who are these? Like Reclaimer blew my mind the first time I listened to it, and it was crazy how many like Reclaimer had like an insane amount of guest vocalists on it of like people that were in, big established deathcore bands at the time. It was like, this guy, holy shit. Like Dickie Allen was on it and like a whole bunch of guest vocalists and whatnot. And it was crazy.
As much as I do absolutely love this, there's just one little thing in the back of my mind that it probably doesn't occur to younger people, but I think to myself, okay, what if they tried to record this piece of music 30 years ago?
Very extremely difficult, if not impossible.
Yeah. Right. Because nowadays the tools you have at your disposal are just incredible.
Pretty easy to get. And they've been like their earliest stuff was studio project only. Like they started after Reclaimer is when they started touring and performing live shows. But like they started as a studio only, like, technical symphonic deathcore band. There's a lot of bands like that that are mostly studio based and don't really do live performances. In that space, in the technical death metal space, there's a lot of bands that don't do live shows because this is just
really hard.
This is just it'd be really really hard. Although like not to denigrate it at all, but no. Like Shadow of Intent is not when it comes down to it, the songwriting is not the most complex in the world.
It's not, but it's very tight.
It's very tight,
extremely tight,
and it comes together like it's
in both senses.
It's greater than the sum of its parts. That's how that goes, right?
I get you. Yeah. Yep.
It really all comes together in such a fantastic way. This album also, like, if you look at the album cover, it's kind of clear what the album is about. This is an album that's about war.
Right. They're burying bodies there on the cover.
And specifically, the song From Ruin We Rise was written months ago by Ben Dewar, specifically about the situation that had been ongoing and building up in Ukraine.
Right.
And, after
now that it's here.
now it's exploded.
I mean, it's been building up for quite a while.
Many years.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, this is an album very much about war. I think there's, songs about war throughout history. I think Life of Exile particularly strikes me as a song about World War II.
Yeah.
Resistance movements in World War II and the Holocaust.
Yeah. Where millions went to die.
Also, where millions have come to die, specifically very much about. I think a lot of it is very influenced by World War II. You've got The Coming Fire, which features, I don't know if it was a soundbite or it couldn't have been a soundbite because it sounds too good, but like very much, talking about the Nazis, not in sort of the Slayer kind of way.
Right.
But still, horrific.
Right.
In that sense. But this is, I really, there's a lot of just heart-wrenching and like triumphant melody on this.
There is. There's actually one song on here that sounds like it belongs on the other album called Elegy that I listened to this week.
That was the Amorphous?
Yeah,
one?
Amorphous from 1986.
There's a lot of metal albums.
1996.
There's a lot of metal albums called Elegy.
But it was a song, what's it called?
Reconquest?
Reconquest.
That's the instrumental.
Yes, it's an instrumental. It sounds like an Amorphous song.
They always have an instrumental track on. They always have at least one instrumental track on their albums, and that was the one on this one. But yeah, there's a lot of fantastic stuff on this album. This is a dumb question. Does this album slap?
No,
absolutely not. No.
It slaps the shit out of you.
An album or a song that I thought was there's one weird song that stands out. It's Of Fury.
Of Fury, yeah.
And I cannot shake the feeling that it feels very Christmassy. Something about it feels very. There's even fucking bells in it. There's fucking like sleigh bells in it. They're not specifically sleigh bells, but they sound like sleigh bells. It's like jaunty. The beat is
actually, I believe it was originally written by the Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Yeah,
AKA Sabotage.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Of Fury, I cannot shake. Like I saw someone make a comment that was like, what's the Christmas track called? It's like, what are you talking about? Oh, is that Of Fury? And then ever since I saw that, I cannot disassociate. Like I kind of skip it because it does not feel like it fits with the rest of the album. It's not a bad song by any means, but it just doesn't feel like it fits with the rest of it.
The song I actually that slapped me the hardest for some reason was Intensified Genocide.
Yeah.
That one is,
it hits hard.
At its heart is kind of thrash metal.
Yeah. No, these guys have a lot of influence from all over the place. These are I think everyone involved in the project is very much they're young guys. They're my age, but they're metal connoisseurs. They're not people who listen to or play only one thing.
Well, no, you can tell by their talent that obviously
they have a lot of different influences.
They've done some study.
I think it would be fantastic if Chris Wiseman, because I think also like Chris Wiseman, in addition to being a good guitarist and a good songwriter for metal, I think he would do reasonably well writing like soundtracks for games and shit.
Yeah.
Like I think he could do that sort of thing. If you're like making an indie game and you want like a metal soundtrack or even just, an electronic symphony soundtrack, talk to Chris Wiseman. Maybe he'd do it. I don't know. I think he'd be good at it.
I'd like to point out something, influence here that I don't know if maybe you didn't notice, but there's definitely a power metal.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that comes in with it. Just all of symphonic metal.
Right. Yeah. There's
an offshoot or at least joined at the hip with power metal.
At some point You're listening to this, or just like when you're listening to power metal, you're thinking, this would sound really good if I was holding a sword and riding a winged horse.
Absolutely. I think there's enough elements of other genres that I enjoy more. Mm-hmm. That's what really holds me. Right. Because, I mean, we've talked about this before. As power metal's not really my bag.
It is not. No. And I absolutely, anytime I'm feeling down, I got to go listen to power metal.
And I think that's what it's for.
It is, exactly. Oh, man, I hate my day. Oh, Dragon Force.
Yeah. I absolutely can, this sort of stuff is what I dig a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And I love when people bring more melody into something that is this intense and is, has vocals that are so intense and all over the place. Mm-hmm. I watched it was like back in 2017 or whatever, Ben Dewar did a cover of it was a song off of Anthropocene Extinction by Cattle Decapitation. I can't remember what it was, but he nailed Travis's style.
Actually, he does do a little bit of the goblin thing here, doesn't he?
On Life of Exile, it's only a short little phrase. There's a short little phrase, but I was like, that sounds like fucking Travis Ryan for one little phrase there where he does, because Travis's goblin voice also relies a lot on sort of loose kind of jowls, sort of lips.
It's almost like a pig.
Yeah.
He almost sounds like a pig doing it, which is great.
And there's a thing that Ben does on just one line in Life of Exile. I was like, that sounds like Travis Ryan. Mm-hmm. But God, I would love a new Cattle Decapitation album.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Well. But
I mean, they're my age, so I mean, I imagine they're
moving a little slower.
I'm tired.
They only just started touring again, though. But
because I've seen interviews with Travis where you can tell that something is going on in his life where it's like, I'm here for this interview, but I really fucking want a nap right now.
I just want a nap. I'm 47. I want to be asleep.
I'm really.
I'm in my mid 40s, and I'm a touring musician. And you have no idea how tired I am.
Yeah, I mean, if I was a touring folk musician, it might be one thing. But the shit we do is very taxing.
Yeah.
And I can imagine him at this point too, hearing Dewar.
Dewar.
I like a nice
Mr. Dewar.
Imagining hearing him do his vocals and going, oh, good, somebody else take the fucking mantle.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Somebody else do this.
I'm gonna hand out happy face stickers at Walmart now. You just go ahead. Thank you. Kick ass, you rock. Fucking A.
Keep on doing your thing.
Yeah.
What's your favorite song on this album?
My favorite song, it's funny. The last three cuts are fucking fantastic.
They're amazing.
They're the title
Adapt,
tracks.
Devise, Overcome.
Yes.
Elegy Part 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, it's death metal, and then progressive metal, and then suddenly just something very nice, and then more death metal. I mean, they fit it all together so well.
It's just sonic parkour.
Yeah,
is what they're doing. I really love those tracks as well.
Yeah.
I think I gotta give it to Life of Exile. The fucking strings. The string.
God, and the real strings.
Or it sounds like real strings.
There are places in here where you can tell, that's a keyboard. But those right there,
it's either an extremely good sample or
a quartet. They brought in a chamber group for that.
That would be amazing.
Had to have brought in a chamber group for that.
It sounds so good.
Yeah.
The strings in Life of Exile are
fantastic.
Just fantastic and done so well.
Life of Exile comes after that Intensified Genocide.
Yes.
So which is intense all the way through, and then the song ends abruptly, and then that comes in with those goddamn strings.
It's
just like the perfect transition.
And the ending is so epic, and it's a song that is, I think, about various resistance movements throughout World War II.
Right.
Whether it's France or Poland or wherever it might be. I think specifically there's a line talking about I think it's specifically expelled from the region only to return 30 cycles past.
Sure.
30 years between World War I and World War II, Germans showing up again.
Right.
Like, I think it's so good.
Very good.
Reminds me a lot of, there is, and it's a song that has become, unfortunately very relevant, but The Partisan.
Sure.
There's Leonard Cohen popularized it.
Right.
It's based on a French resistance.
Yeah, he didn't
song.
exactly write it.
Yes.
He wrote his version of it.
And then Mick Gordon did a cover of it for one of the DLCs of the new Wolfenstein series.
Right. One of the new,
with Tex Perkins, who's an Australian rock singer. And that song is amazing.
Sure.
And there is
and his version of it in the Doom soundtrack is great.
But yeah, there is a string section at the end of that version of The Partisan, which is just amazing. And it ends on this really long, drawn out cello note, which is just that gets me like I don't know what it is about cello.
Yeah, just
like playing a really long note on the low string of a cello is just like it gives me shivers every time.
Oh, sure. You could totally haunt my dreams with the cello. I think it's
cello. Is there any cello in your favorite band, Celtic Frost?
No, it's Celtic Frost.
Sorry, I forgot your additional bastardization of it.
Also, remember the other like top fucking song on here, Kringle of Fury. I think
Kringle of Fury. Of Fury is good.
Yeah, it is good.
It's a good song. I also think song. Farewell, just the opening cut is fantastic. The opening build up with that, with again the strings.
Yeah, strings. It opens with strings. You wouldn't know you're listening to a metal album for the first minute of that song.
So good.
Yeah.
So much of this is so fucking good.
It's funny. I've listened to other podcasts, which you wouldn't think I would, but because I don't like the sound of the human voice.
Yeah.
So I've listened to other podcasts and I've heard other people say, what the podcast I hate the most? Anybody who talks about shit they like. I feel like that person has never heard this.
Perhaps.
Because we have a tendency to like the stuff we're talking about.
Well, yeah. I mean, unless you're funny people, which... Right. We find each other rather funny.
Other people rolling their eyes.
I don't think most people find us funny.
No.
So
we are not funny.
Like you have to be, I think, to talk about bad content.
Sure. You have to be funny.
You have to be funny because otherwise you're putting yourself through something miserable for no reason.
Right.
And I'm not interested in talking about things that I don't enjoy because I know I'm not going to have anything funny to say about them.
Exactly. Although, to a counterpoint, once or twice a year,
we do
talk about a bad movie.
It's usually a bad movie.
Yeah, and we talked
about Green Room that one time. That's a
great movie.
That's a fantastic movie.
We enjoyed that, but I think we were probably funny talking about fucking cats.
I forget we watched Cats on my birthday.
Yeah. I think it was on your birthday.
Or was that The Fanatic? Was it The Fanatic or was it Cats on my birthday? I don't remember.
All I remember is
they might have both been on my birthday.
They were both bad movies involving scotch
that we watched sometime in March.
Yeah.
Oh God! But so what metal are you bestowing upon this album? Yeah, it's a gold.
Yeah, it's a gold.
What did you like? Maz Kanata's Chewbacca. I'll finish
gold.
the thing that I was try to get that out there because everyone loves Rise of Skywalker.
It's everybody's favorite movie.
But yeah, this is gold. If you are at all interested in death metal or extreme metal at all, give this a listen.
Sure.
I think it's great. And I don't think you will regret your time with this.
You won't.
This is a really, really good stuff.
And it's years. I mean, you could spend like a month listening to these nonstop because we've been so fucking long.
I have.
You have?
I've been listening to this.
You've been listening to this podcast?
No. Oh, I thought you were talking about the album.
Oh, no. Yeah, this album, man. Oh, yeah. You can listen to this nonstop and enjoy it all the time.
I thought you were talking about the album.
No, I'm talking about the podcast.
Yeah, we've talked at length.
You know, and speaking of Star Wars, did you know, I found out a trivia note today that in Back to the Future, when Doc Brown says, "Great Scott," he's actually referring to
Alec Guinness?
Millard Scott. Millard Scott, who's the engineer on the starship Star Wars in the movie.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Scotty, the engineer for Star Wars.
Yeah, okay. Why are you making this joke right now?
I don't know.
What was the purpose of that?
I wanted to derail something. I wanted to hurt something pretty.
I wanted to hurt something. I wanted to destroy something beautiful.
That was it, yeah.
That's the quote from Fight Club. All right. What are you bringing next week?
Oh, shit.
Our catch-up month. Have you not thought about it?
I didn't even fucking think about it. I mean, you did the same thing last week. I mean, we're doing a catch-up.
That's true.
Month.
Yeah, I didn't say what we were talking about this week.
No, and then you sort of buzzed by my desk and go, Elegy! And then
yeah, because I realized I had forgotten.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there are a whole lot of things I'd like to talk about, and I can't think of any of them off the top of my head.
I mean, it was something that I was thinking about bringing up to you to talk about. It was like, it's like maybe you could bring that Converge album, or
yeah,
because we hadn't talked about that one. Or I mean, ultimately it's up to you. But, so I know what I think my next thing is going to be.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to talk about that. There's
what was it?
No. Well, okay, well, there's a new Saxon album. There's a new Ghost album.
If that's what you want to bring,
I don't think so.
Okay.
Give me some time.
Okay, I'll give you some time.
There's a new Immolation album. No shit. Oh God, no! I gotta look through this goddamn list first.
I also keep on forgetting that there's also a new Fit for an Autopsy.
There is. What the future holds.
Yeah. My next thing that I'm going to bring is the new Silent Planet album, because I'm.
Wait, I didn't realize you like Silent Planet.
Yeah.
There was never an indication.
There's never any visual indication that I like Silent Planet. Is that the shirt? No, I'm not wearing that shirt. No, you're
wearing the Wonder Years.
That was yesterday. I wore my Silent Planet shirt yesterday. My Silent Planet sweatshirt only comes out when it's particularly cold.
Right.
Because it's
warmer for some reason.
It is warmer.
Is it really?
Yeah.
All right.
It is a warmer sweatshirt. The sleeves are fucked up, but
There's a new Crowbar album? I didn't know those guys were still alive. I got to look through this fucking list.
I'm trying to remember what the super racist band is. It's not Crowbar.
I don't think Crowbar was super. Well, they might have been mildly.
There's some band that reminds me of that. That's like super duper racist. But anyway,
what's the new Crowbar album called? It says "We Hate the Blacks." No, it says Zero and Below.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't know.
I don't know if it might have been Crowbar. It's possible. I haven't listened to them in a very long time.
I don't know. But anyway, whatever we listen to next week, I hope you will tune in for it. Until then,
new Mizmor? Yeah.
It's not an album. It's like a EP. It's a 20-minute long ambient sort of thing.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But anyway, thanks for listening to another episode of the Bronze Metalist Podcast. I'm Kyle.
Quick, we gotta get done with the podcast. It's your kids, Marty.